that strength and kindness are mutually exclusive. But that is a fabrication spun by those who dread losing control over you. True power resides in embodying both, a person capable of profound kindness, yet unafraid to inspire awe and even fear. A person who leads with compassion but never bows for scraps. A person who smiles, but not for the purpose of being liked. This is how you break free from the niceness trap, not by becoming cruel, but by becoming sovereign. So remember this. Your kind subtly administered behind a familiar smile. Machiavelli grasped a fundamental truth that most people stubbornly refuse to accept: loyalty is not eternal. It is conditional, fragile, and perpetually negotiable. The notion that your friends, your partners, even your most trusted confidants, could one day act against your interests is profoundly unsettling. But it is also the undeniable genesis of wisdom. Because once you comprehend the chilling psychology of betrayal, you cease expecting unconditional loyalty, and you begin constructing an unbreakable strategy. Let's dissect this further. Human beings are inherently opportunistic. We are fundamentally wired to seek comfort, security, validation, and power, and we will frequently switch allegiances the moment an alternative path offers a greater reward. We cleverly cloak this tendency in morality, in lofty ideals, in noble justifications. But at its core, the mechanism is simple: people pursue advantage. And advantage, by its very nature, is fluid. One day, you are the dominant player on the board, the gravitational center around which others orbit. The next, a new force emerges, more useful, more valuable, more threatening. And in that precise moment, loyalty subtly, instinctively, shifts. That friend who once sang your praises begins to whisper behind your back. That ally who swore eternal support stops returning your calls. That lover who once uttered "forever" starts to withdraw, their gaze wandering to someone else. They don't betray you because you failed them. They betray you because they perceive a greater gain from someone else. And the depth of your shared history? It becomes utterly irrelevant. In the brutal arena of power, history is merely a memory, and people will ruthlessly rewrite it in a heartbeat if it serves their immediate survival. Machiavelli's chilling admonition: never trust in affection alone. He advised rulers, and by extension, anyone who wields influence, to assume that betrayal is an ever-present possibility. Not to succumb to paranoia, but to remain perpetually prepared. The gravest error you can commit is to presume loyalty is a permanent fixture. Because here's the unvarnished truth. When your power wanes, so too does their loyalty. When your usefulness ends, so too does their presence. When their envy escalates, so too does their silent desire to see you fall. This isn't cynicism. It's psychological realism. We all carry shadows within us, hidden desires for dominance, for recognition, for even quiet revenge. Sometimes, even your closest friend harbors a simmering resentment, a jealousy they never articulate aloud. They smile. They offer support. They laugh with you. But deep beneath that facade, they secretly hope you'll stumble. Not necessarily out of malice, but because your very light casts a shadow on their own sense of worth. And if ever presented with the chance to elevate themselves by dimming your shine, many will seize it without hesitation. Strategies for the inevitable. So, what do? First, stop idealizing people. When you place others on a pedestal, you grant them unearned power. When you demand purity, you willfully ignore glaring warning signs. When you blindly assume loyalty, you cease to observe with the necessary vigilance. Instead, meticulously observe people's behavior over time. Do they only offer support when it's convenient for them? Do their private remarks about you differ wildly from their public ones? Do they compete with your successes rather than genuinely celebrating them? These are not insignificant details. They are undeniable signals of future betrayal. Second, build leverage. Do not rely solely on fragile emotional bonds. Cultivate value that others genuinely need: indispensable skills, far-reaching influence, critical resources. When you are truly indispensable, people will think twice before turning on you, because betrayal suddenly becomes prohibitively expensive. Machiavelli understood that true power resides not in sentimental affection, but in control, not in being loved, but in being absolutely necessary. Third, do not retaliate emotionally. When betrayal inevitably strikes, and it will, do not collapse. Do not beg. Do not fruitlessly seek closure. Understand it for what it is, a significant shift in the power dynamic. And then, pivot strategically. Withdraw. Recalibrate. Fortify your position. Do not allow one traitor to blind you to the entire battlefield. Because here's a chilling truth most people actively avoid admitting. Betrayal is an inherent part of life. You cannot entirely prevent it. You can only prepare for it. So, I urge you to ask yourself this, and engage in profound self-reflection before answering. Who in your immediate life benefits most from your silence? Who in your inner circle would feel a quiet sense of relief if you experienced a significant setback? Who do you trust simply because confronting the truth would be too uncomfortable? Pause. Reflect deeply. These are not accusations. They are urgent invitations to radical self-awareness. And if you've been wounded by betrayal before, share your story. Not for pity, but for the inherent strength found in vulnerability. Because your pain holds a unique power. And your scars are not weaknesses. They are your armor. The solitude of power. If you're still watching, still clinging to the notion that loyalty is a guaranteed constant, ask yourself this. If everything you offered disappeared tomorrow, your status, your resources, your perceived usefulness, who would genuinely remain?